Hello, everybody. It's great to be here in Tokyo for our 11th FIDO Tokyo seminar, and it's an honor to follow Professor Murai to speak to you all today about FIDO Alliance and passkeys and give you an update on where things stand. This has been another significant year of growth and progress for the FIDO Alliance and the broader FIDO ecosystem, including some fantastic milestones here in Japan that I'll be talking about today and that you'll hear from other speakers from today as well. You know, I've been attending or speaking at this seminar since 2016, and it truly is remarkable to see how far we've come. In 2016, FIDO was a concept that faced a fair amount of skepticism. Like, no one thought that what we were trying to do is a wrong idea. Everyone understands that passwords are a problem, but there were a lot of questions as to whether or not we could get things done. But thanks to our unwavering focus and our commitment and the leadership of companies around the world, including those here in Japan, we truly are at a place where a future not dependent on passwords is within reach. So just to back up a little bit, who is FIDO Alliance? Right? FIDO Alliance is an open industry association with a very focused mission to reduce the world's reliance on passwords. We accomplish this by promoting development and utilization of open standards for strong user authentication, and we back this up with world-class programs for certification and go-to-market, market education. You know, core to the FIDO Alliance's success has been our membership, right? We're a membership organization. Yes, you know, I'm very proud that we have over 300 members now worldwide inside of FIDO Alliance. That's quite a number. But even more important is the blend of companies that we have that will help us meet our mission. Right, shown here are the board of director companies, and it's reflective of our membership on the whole. Right, so we have major platform providers and device manufacturers like Apple and Google, Microsoft, Samsung. We have experts in identity, security, and biometrics. And last but not least, we have the service providers whose businesses necessitate our success. Companies that want to deliver high assurance services to billions of users worldwide on a daily basis. That includes companies such as NTT Docomo, Mercari, and Line Yahoo, but also companies like Amazon, TikTok, and many, many more. You know, our goal since day one has been to transform the way that people sign in, moving away from a dependence on centrally stored shared secrets to a model that uses user-friendly, asymmetric public key cryptography. It's simpler, stronger authentication. And both simpler and stronger must be true. Right? I think we all know this. If your multi-factor authentication is too difficult to use, your consumers will not opt in, and your employees will find workarounds. And this is why you've seen FIDO Alliance put so much effort into usability and user experience. You know, those of you who've been here for many of our 11 seminars would know that this picture really hasn't changed in the past 10 years. And that's on purpose. And that reflects our steady, ongoing focus on the same mission. And I think it's the fact that we've had this focus, again, has been one of our keys to success. So passkeys, right? How many of you have used a passkey in your daily life? That's fantastic. Now, what's interesting is that had I asked the question, 4 years ago, how many of you had used WebAuthn? Some would raise their hands, but some of you probably would have used it, but you wouldn't have known. All right, so when we introduced passkeys 2 years ago, it was a very significant point for FIDO Alliance. But it's important that we all understand what passkeys are. All right, so first, important to note that passkeys are not a new specification. They're not a new protocol. What they are a new term for FIDO credentials that was introduced at the same time as a capability to sync passkeys across devices leveraging FIDO2 and WebAuthn. Right, that's illustrated on the right-hand side of this screen that shows how the private key can be securely synchronized across a device cloud such that they're readily available across the user's devices. Now, of course, passkeys can also be bound to a dedicated device, such as a security key or a native mobile app, and that's often the approach favored in the workforce or in highly regulated situations. So passkeys can be deployed flexibly according to your use case. But what we've seen is that this new ability to sync the private key, to sync the passkey, has really unleashed the deployment of passkeys for consumer services at scale. And significantly, passkeys are supported on virtually every modern computing device, operating system, and browser. And this is due to the strong collaboration FIDO Alliance has had with the W3C and the WebAuthn Working Group, which resulted in all leading browsers having passkey support since 2019. And since then, each major operating system has built client-side support for FIDO into their platforms. And overall, progress has been outstanding. So we did a survey earlier this year, and we found that 57% of consumers who were surveyed were aware of passkeys, up from 39% in 2022. And in Japan, Japan's ahead of the curve yet again. 62% of consumers are aware of passkeys. So when I think about Professor Murai's slides earlier about the growth of the internet, we're seeing a similar but more meteoric rise in adoption and awareness of passkeys. All told, we estimate that over 15 billion user accounts can now leverage passkeys for sign-in. Now, that figure is an estimate that represents a total number of accounts across known services that are deploying passkeys. Last year I had a slide similar to this, but it's much smaller, and that was pretty much all the services we knew that supported passkeys. And before that, we had a slide with, I think, 2 companies. And we try to track this, but we can't. We've gotten to the point now where there's more services deploying passkeys than we can track. We find them online. It's becoming a matter of course for companies to support passkeys. That's a great problem for us to have, seeing so much adoption. And we continue to see large adoption of passkeys in the workforce, as we have for years. Right, so these are just some of the companies that have found good success using passkeys for MFA and or as a password replacement. So much of our success comes down to usability. It really is all about usability. Our tagline is simpler, stronger authentication, and again, both must be true. Consumer service providers generally have some common success metrics. And it comes down to how many of my users can be authenticated and how quickly can that happen. And passkeys improve both metrics versus passwords, and especially versus legacy forms of 2FA. So studies from FIDO Alliance have shown us that signing with a passkey is several seconds faster than a password and much faster than legacy forms of 2FA. You can see this in this image, right? On one side is signing with a passkey, the other one is a password sign-in. And you can see how painful it is to sign in on a device like this with a password. And so companies that have rolled out passkeys have seen great success. Right? Amazon has over 175 million passkeys enrolled in just over 1 year. And they've reported significant sign-in success rate improvement. Google has over 800 million accounts using passkeys and are also seeing huge improvements in sign-in speed, success, and customer satisfaction. Sony Interactive Entertainment introduced passkeys for PlayStation, which also has had similar success metrics. What I find exciting about Sony's work is that they're allowing their consumers to delete the password altogether, which is not a requirement, but something everyone should strive towards. And TikTok also has seen similar support and adoption and continues to innovate with passkeys, both for consumers and their employees. And here in Japan, we've seen great success as well. All right, so KDDI has 13 million customers using FIDO for AUID, which has resulted in a 35% reduction in support desk calls, another benefit of passkeys. Within Line Yahoo, 27 million active users use passkeys, and roughly half of sign-in is done using passkeys at a much higher success rate and speed. Mercari has 7 million customers using passkeys, also seeing higher success rate, but they've very importantly noted that they've seen no unauthorized sign-ins for accounts that have passkeys for Mercoin. And Docomo similarly has seen improved sign-in success and also eliminated de-account fraud over the past 2 years for Docomo Online Shop. So these are very real business benefits associated with deploying passkeys. And those are just 4 examples in Japan, right? We see strong adoption both for consumers and in the workforce. Japan remains a critical hub for FIDO innovation, implementation. And today, we're very pleased to share that Nikkei will be supporting passkeys starting in February of 2025. We're very excited about this, as I think it'll expose passkeys to an even greater number of Japanese consumers, thereby growing more familiarity, comfort, and demand for more passkeys on more services. And the security benefits of passkeys are also being recognized by the National Police Agency, which has cited the importance of deploying passkeys to help ensure the safety and security of a cashless society. And we were very pleased when in June of this year, the Japanese government published comprehensive measures to protect the public from fraud, which includes promoting passkeys for anti-phishing. We will hear later today from Mr. Hayashi from Digital Agency. Hayashi-san spoke here last year, and today will share his updated passkey experience and perspectives with us. I'm very much looking forward to his presentation. So that is where we stand today, roughly 2 years after we introduced passkeys as a new way to deploy and identify FIDO authentication. We feel fantastic about this progress, but we are far from done. In fact, in many ways, we are just getting started on our mission to reduce the world's reliance on passwords to create a safer networked economy. I want to share now a few things that FIDO Alliance is doing to help further the FIDO ecosystem and drive more adoption. In October of this year, we launched a brand new resource called Passkey Central. This website is a culmination of a huge amount of research and development that has helped establish this site as the world's top resource for independent and authoritative guidance on all things passkeys. We put extensive background research into doing this. We interviewed dozens of stakeholders around the world. We did a lot of human interface testing and things like that. This required added funding and support, and we're very grateful for the added support we had from Google, from Yubico, and other companies who served as underwriters for this important activity. Now, we understand that a lot of companies need help getting started on their passkey journey, and others may have done a pilot but need help getting to scale. And Passkey Central is meant to provide guidance to anybody interested in passkeys at each step of their passkey journey. And Passkey Central is meant to complement resources and guidance from the vendor community who provide their own special expertise, their own experience to help companies be successful with their rollouts of passkeys to customers and to their employees. And today, very happy to share with you that we have launched the Japanese translated version of Passkey Central. So this went live this morning. You can access it through the QR code on the screen or go to passkeycentral.org/JA. I encourage you to check this out, not while everyone's talking, but please check it out and let us know your feedback. I think you'll find it very educational and insightful. Something else we've done to help further the ecosystem is to give users more choice. All right, so when we first introduced passkeys, we did so in a joint announcement between FIDO Alliance, Apple, Google, and Microsoft. And so accordingly, there was a lot of concern from some that users would be locked into those big tech ecosystems. Now, that was never our intent. In the past year now, we've seen many companies become passkey providers, validating the fact that that was never our intent. So independent credential managers like 1Password, Dashlane, Bitwarden, and several more all manage passkeys alongside the larger platforms. And in October, we announced the draft release of our credential exchange specifications. These specs will allow users to safely move credentials, both passkeys and passwords, between providers. We're very proud that this technical work was done within FIDO Alliance, as it demonstrates our commitment to open ecosystems, to collaboration, and to interoperability. And while we continue to focus on driving adoption of passkeys for user sign-in, we're also seeing the applications and use cases for passkeys expand. So FIDO Alliance is addressing the EU Digital Identity Wallet Initiative, which can be accessed through passkeys. In fact, the whole wallet space is somewhat fragmented, but one common thread is that generally you can use passkeys to access your wallets. Visa and MasterCard have launched passkey services for credit card payments, and you'll be able to hear more about this emerging work later today for MasterCard. A few weeks ago, Samsung announced that their smart home devices will start supporting passkeys, bringing passkey support to televisions and appliances. And we've seen a lot of interest for FIDO's fit in automotive, using passkeys for things like in-car personalization and payment authentication, but also using, say, security keys in the factory to help protect the workers from remote attacks. So to wrap things up here, like Moriyama-san said, we encourage you to accelerate your own passkey journey, both as a consumer, we're all consumers after all, but also as a vendor or as a service provider. If you need help getting started, please visit the companies outside in the expo hall and also utilize the brand new Japanese Passkey Central resource. We also encourage vendors and service providers to join our efforts at FIDO Alliance as a member. The FIDO Japan Working Group is a very active and supportive hub and community here in Japan. I think you'd find that if you join the Alliance and you take part in that group, it'll really help deepen your passkey and FIDO understanding and put you in better position to build product or deploy services to your consumers and your constituents. So thank you so much for your time today. We greatly appreciate your interest and your support. I look forward to seeing the rest of the seminar and to talking to many of you today. Thank you so much.